Lessons Learned. I'm Sherry, and this is Finish It Friday, where we see what I've finished and what you have finished. And Blue wants to say hello. He's scratching at the counter to get up here. So say hi, Blue. No, not to me. Not to me. To the peoples. They want to see your face. He growled a little bit like, I want to see your face, Mom. He's a mess. He definitely is a mess, this one. Do you want to go lay down, take a nap? You want to go lay down? He got a little warm today. It was warm here in the high 80s, actually, and I was sitting back on the back patio, and guess what rolled up? A snake. Not a big one. It was just like a juvenile size snake, I'll say. It was pure black, so it wasn't out to get me or anything, but it did make me move into the house in a quick way. I don't do snakes at all. So anyway, talking about Blue, something that I started on this week was the Blue's Batiks, and I am making up some 8 patches. So there's a little preview. I'm not going to show you all of these. I want it to be a surprise, but I took a lot of your advice to turn them every other so that I wouldn't have to match this stripe going across, and that has proved to be very helpful. And thank you for being so accurate in your blocks. They're all sewing up really nice and perfectly. So I'm excited about that. So I have finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 8 blocks of 8. And I have plenty more. And I've spread them out in darks and lights. So I'm trying to do a dark and a light, a dark and a light. And then probably when I get all the way over to the left edge, I'll add another dark to frame it out good. Because I couldn't have this up here and then all the way on the other side, this down here. I would need to balance that out. At least that's the way my mind works. But it's going to be a honking big quilt. It's going to be very nice. And we're going to try to raise lots of money with it, I hope. So start telling your friends and your guilds and all your sewing groups and the whole world. Just tell everyone that there's going to be this magnificent quilt up for auction soon, and all of that will go to benefit the Humane Society. So what else have I gotten into? I got this past month, April, starts the new Sew Sampler Sew Along. I'm not affiliated with Fat Quarter Shop, but if this is their monthly box that you can get a subscription of, it's only about $40, and you get a pattern every box, and by the end of 12 boxes you have a quilt of a certain theme. And you all recently saw me do the pressed flowers, and now we're starting the Pieceful baskets. So I am using that. Now I'm not going to be able to think of it. This line that I've been showing you, Sandy Gervais. I can't remember the name of it already. Well, it's kind of new to my sewing repertoire, so I haven't got it concretely in my mind yet what the name of it is. What is it? I don't know. I feel like it has a flowery name. I could be wrong. Adele in Summer. I know you were screaming it at me, weren't you? So I got my first block done, and I think it turned out pretty good. And I'm gonna try to use a lot of those plaids for the baskets, but it came out pretty demure, so I may actually put some bright baskets in there. We'll just see what the patterns look like each month and kind of go from there. And that's the fun of those mystery type sew-alongs. We won't know what each block is until we get the box, but they will all be these baskets. but they could be a little different each one. So I'll just have to decide that as I go along using this line of fabric, Adele in Summer. Oh, and then the Funky Cat series is over, and this is all finished. If you want to see a better picture of it, go to that part 3, which is the final video of the series, and you'll be able to see an outside view of the entire quilt. But I just wanted to stick this up here to show you that I did get it finished, and it turned out really cute. I think it's kind of an interesting yet, I don't know, practical quilt. It'd make a good throw for your couch or for a kid's room, something like that. It's pretty long. It probably would fit nicely on a twin bed. It's not super long, but it's definitely wide enough. Well, actually, it's probably long enough, but maybe the width could be a little more for a twin. But I think it would drape over some on each side of a twin bed. Either way, it would work good as a large throw. Okay, so enough about me. I have tons and tons of pictures to show you this week. I'm being a little bit dramatic about that. I don't know if I really have tons and tons, but my editor is not going to be happy about this video. But I got plenty more than I did last week, and I actually didn't show all of the ones for last week. So let's get back into it. Oh, and I also started my, if you're not on the Facebook group, you wouldn't know this. I also started a bin for the Tilda Berry Wreath quilt. So I'm going to be starting that up pretty soon. I haven't cut any fabric yet, but I'm ready to go. The pattern's ready to go. So you'll start to see some of that. Oh, and I also did work on Happy Days. I'm working on those borders. So I'm allotting myself a certain amount of time each day that I must work on that. So that'll be done probably by next week if I keep that up. I'll have a finish to show you, and it's going to be huge. Okay, so our first submission is from Shelly, and this was a gift for someone that she made for a male person, a M-A-L-E person. I thought this was very fitting for a male person, and she did some great free motion quilting on there. Shelly always does a lot of dense quilting, and you can see that she's had lots of practice, and it looks really good, really good. Nice design, nice modern, manly design. And then here's another quilt that she made for someone in the blues and greens and whites, and it's kind of a freestyle sort of pattern, it looks like. Maybe both of these are. I'm not sure. She didn't put the pattern on there. I have a feeling that she designed these herself. And again, another modern style pattern there. I have one more picture that hasn't downloaded. Let me see if it's another quilt or if it's just the back of one of these. Let me see. Almost downloaded right there. Oh, this is a different quilt. This is like a big Ferris wheel. There again, there's no name mentioned about it. It could be Shelly's own designs, and that is very unique as well. Notice the quilting again. Very dense and very creatively done. Lots of different types of free motion quilting on there. It looks great. And then this one is from Arlene, and she's working on some blocks. So she has done some Dresden plate blocks, and she's calling it Dressing It Up blocks from the All Dressed Up in an old Quilt Maker magazine. And when I say Dressed, that's with 2 Z's, not 2 S's. So she's using some leftovers to create some new blocks to make another quilt, and that's pretty cool. It's kind of a double Dresden. You see the smaller one on the inside, and then to form the bigger one, there's an extension there on that smaller one. That's pretty cool. And then there's 2 sizes really. There's two separate sizes. There's the small ones by themselves and then the double ones. Really cool. This one is from Susan. She made this quilt as a gift as well, and she picked the colors, the recipient. Very cute. Hearts in purple and oranges, or maybe coral, kind of orange and purple. Looks good, looks good. And then there's also some flower garden type blocks in there as well. Very cute. And then here's one Susan made for a cousin in another state. And this is kind of funny. She said her grandmother asked if I would make it and put big ugly number 3 on it. It's a joke between them. I made it with a few bedrock fat quarters that I bought a couple years ago. They're 15 or 18 inches square. So a big block quilt. That's what you can do with your fat quarters. Also, if you have some really wild printed ones, that's a good thing to do with them. Just showcase that fabric. But in this case, these big color blocks of solids worked out really well for it too. Nancy, she says, my husband was in the Navy and loves all things fishing, boating, and marine life. He wanted a quilt, so I made this for him. It's wider than it is tall, 71 by 76, but that's okay. It's just right for our camper. Very well done here. Very well done. There's a lot of detail in that quilt. If you look at all the different fabrics, and then your big center area there really pulls it all together. Very nice. Dolores made some table runners and a table protector. There we go. And this was done up in, I believe these are Peachy Keen from Coriander Quilts. Very nice. 2 nice table runners. And then a table mat as well that you can use for your hot casserole dish or a baking pan of some kind, cookie sheet, whatever. It'll protect your table that way. Very nice. I love the peach binding on there. Teresa, she said this is was made using the disappearing 9-patch pattern for our green loving grandson on his 18th birthday, and it's quilted with a jigsaw puzzle motif. Yes, I see that jigsaw puzzle. And of course I love the greens. So this is a disappearing 9-patch, but the greens and then the darks really makes a pleasing pattern to the eye there, in my opinion. It looks really good. And I love the jigsaw pattern of the quilting. Cassandra, she says, I finally finished my scrappy quilt as you go. This was a series that I had on fairly recently, and she made hers extra big as well. Not the blocks themselves, but she added rows, blocks to each row and more rows. So it looks very nice. She says, I made it with some jelly roll strips that I didn't particularly like because I've had them for several years. I made it larger, 1 because I like larger quilts, and 2 because I wanted to use these strips up. But needless to say, I didn't use all the strips even after using them for binding. She likes the way this turns out, and I think it turned out good too. Yeah, those 2.5-inch strips just don't seem to go away, do they? There's always some left over from a jelly roll, and you know, if you're cutting them down into smaller pieces like we did for this project, you still have a ton left. So I don't know what's going to happen to I have an entire bin full of those 2.5-inch strips left over from jelly rolls, or I've cut them from my scraps. So yeah, we need more 2.5-inch strip projects. Alright, and then Debbie, this was a cool quilt. This is a So Kind of Wonderful pattern named Floral Felicity. So Kind of Wonderful is a pattern company, and it's called Floral Felicity. It was a quarterly block of the month that started last August. It was out of her comfort zone, but a good learning experience. It's 81 by 106. It's huge. That's kind of like my happy days it's going to be. So very good, Debbie. Stretching yourself there a little bit or maybe a lot of bit, to make this quilt. This looks like a lot of applique and a lot of interesting piecing as well. But you should be proud of that. And then I have a few from Andrea. She has 3 for us here, and this is our last ones. Quilt number 1, she says, is her Toffee Bar Pat Sloan Block of the Week for March 2024. Wasn't that a block a day? I think it was a block a day. She didn't put polka dots in hers like Pat did, and I think I had commented to Andrea that I didn't think that looked so good, but a lot of people did do theirs in polka dots. This is a Robin Pickens Tulip Tango, 5-inch charms and the border fabric, and the rest is from her stash. So that turned out really good. Very good. I've had that fabric line as well, and I've used it in a lot of my projects. The scraps just keep on giving from whatever I use that on. I think I used my yardage and pre-cuts, whatever I had of it. I think I had fat quarters. I used it on one of Pat Sloan's Block of the Week. I think it was the Block Wednesday quilt, about 4 or 5 of those back. It's beautiful. I love your quilt here that you did. And then the second one is the penny quilt pattern, done in steampunk, Stonehenge, and grunge. I started this as a challenge to be brave on a quilt channel quilt along. It took me way longer to finish, but it will be a belated wedding gift. I like that. I have some of that steampunk too. I have no idea why I bought that or what I will use it for, but I love your quilt, and the grays and the oranges together look very, I don't know, industrial, but in a good way. I like it. I like it a lot. And then her third one, I don't see the third one on here, Andrea. She has an oversized potato chip pattern, but I don't see that I got that. That didn't download with this email. So you might try that again. But I got your first 2, so you'll have another one for next week. That'll be great if you'd send that over. I'd like to see it. I love both of these quilts. You did a great job on them. Okay, so that's what we have. That's what we have this week. Everybody's been busy. It's awesome. You're doing an awesome job on all of your projects, and we're just going to keep going because that's what we love to do. So I hope you have a great weekend and find something to work on in your sewing room, or start a new project, or get one of those pesky UFOs out that's been sitting in the corner and get something done. So I have lots to do, and I have some long arming I need to do, and I'm sure my weekend will be filled with lots of sewing projects. So we'll see you back here on a Monday Quilt Chat, and then on Wednesday I'm hoping to have the Paducah Quilt Show video put together for you, so you can look forward to that, and then we'll be back around here on Friday for Finish It Friday. 3 videos a week. Make sure you're subscribed. If you see the word subscribe anywhere on your screen, touch that word and hit the black bell, and you will not miss any of the videos that come out 3 times a week. All right, have a great weekend. Have fun in your sewing room, and we'll see you soon. Bye.